This is going to take me into the new user interface. So let's do a little bit of navigation and tour of that. I know the first thing a lot of people are going to see is on the left side of the screen, I now have my navigation. So where before you had to do one or a couple clicks maybe to move between different areas, you now have the ability just on your left navigation to pick any of the areas and navigate directly to accounts, contacts, pledges, payments, whatever you're working on. Home is now on your left navigation. You can go right here. We also used to have our recent items and our pinned items up on the top. They actually looked like this icon. That's not the icon anymore. They're actually here now. So all of my recent items, I can click here. My pinned items, I can click here. They have also increased the pin limits a little bit, so you can have additional things pinned to your dashboard, data that you normally would go to over the course of a day. Now, the other big change is navigating between what we've always called work areas. So you'll see down in the very bottom left-hand corner, there's a little thing called fundraising. If I click on that, I get the ability to change areas. Now, there's one little thing up here and it says StratusLIVE. If I do click on this, that will bring me right back to that app screen. So if you do have access to additional apps, it would allow you to flip back and forth to a different application. That's especially important for people who maybe part of your time you're working in something like Give It Work portals and you're doing things around the Give It Work portals, but the rest of the time you're a resource development person. You want to be working in a resource development area. This allows you to have two different apps because you want to be able to do different things in each of them. The top bar is the same. We still have our universal search up here. We still have our advanced find up here. We still have our settings. I'm acting as a gift officer, so it takes me to the SL gift officer dashboard. This is actually a new dashboard that's coming out with this version of the system. It's like the development dashboard we had before, but it has a little bit more on prospects. What I want to show here is the first button that I have in each of these areas. So this is dashboard, under prospecting, and then under marketing. I can click on this and it will take me to a different dashboard. I don't have to go up and select new dashboards or scroll through all of the dashboards to find my next one. I can have it available through a button click. You'll notice that I'm now looking at a hierarchical view of our campaign dashboard. If I go to 23 and expand on that, I see my campaigns. If I expand my campaigns, I'm going to see campaign activities, and it'll go down to campaign activity groups. That's something else that's new within here. You're going to be able to have this new dashboard of information. You'll see this one. I do have a secondary work area because I now have this, but it's reduced. So in this case, I only have fundraising and I have engagement. And engagement is really just a subset of engagement entities that I want to display. This is what we're really excited about. You now have the ability to set up your users' apps that make sense for them. So they don't have to go hunt for where these different things are and be able to apply them. You'll even be able to do things like down here, you'll see Google Search and Wealth Engine. What do those do? They just launch. So I can launch directly to Wealth Engine from here. I can launch a Google search right from here. So this is part of that prospecting area of the system. If I want to go out and research somebody, I can just launch Google right from within the application. So think about if you have your own web pages or you have your own places where you have some of your procedures and things like that, and you have it on a web page, you can actually embed that now as a click from the left navigation that people could get right to your procedures. Let's get into some of the new features that we are have with this, and also some of the form changes that we have within the application. So I'm going to use my demo dolly here, Brian Billingham. Here's where we see a lot of, again, major differences in the way things worked from before. One thing is with the forms have now reduced the scroll, and we now have what I would say tabs at the top. So if I want to see participations, if I want to see interest, if I want to see recurring plans, these are just tabs now that we have right across here, and then details. So instead of that big long scroll, you're just now able to go right to the area that you want to go to. Your related items are on this little tab called related. If I click, this is all of the related items that we would normally see on that big scroll that you get at the top. Again, this can get limited down based on security, all of those things as you're going through, but it's all available now within this related tab that you have within each of the forms that's in the system. Now let's go to my summary screen because there's another couple big changes that have occurred within here. I'm going to talk about the center section in a second. One of those is in the mapping capability. So if you remember before, if you do have Bing Mapping enabled on here, you could click and go out to Bing. But one of the things that they did is they now made the views available right within the system. So if I want to look at a bird's eye view of where Brian lives, I can do it without leaving StratusLIVE. So it just takes me into that area and allows me to see that right from within the application. One other change that I'm going to mention while we're down here is primary. That's how we do our householding capabilities. If you remember before, the householding or the total household lifetime value appeared on every single contact record. It does not anymore. It only appears on those records that are head of household. So now you don't see some and some that are the same thing for a total. Now, one of the big changes is right here in the center of the form. Now, most of our forms already have this. Most of you should be familiar with the newer forms in the system. They have post, they have assistant, they have activities, they have notes. In this version of it, everything is now located under timeline. This is a timeline of every activity, note, and post in one place in date order from newest down through the oldest stuff. So now you're able to see all of those things. And when I click this plus at the top, you'll actually see now you can create activities, notes, or posts from one place. So there's no more kind of moving around trying to figure out which tab do I need to be on, where do I want to put that kind of stuff. You can come to one place and just say, oh, I want to do a phone call. I'm just going to do it right from here in the application.